So we have here we're done with the visitation letter A. So visitation letter B, presentation of public and or pertinent documents to prove relationships. So they should prove their relationship, especially when they visit the person. Though, so before the visit a person, they should show a pertinent document for like IDs or anything that could prove your relationship with the person you're gonna visit. And we have here letter C, prohibition of conjugal visits. So conjugal visits are very prohibited in um, visiting detained persons. So we have here number 5. So we're done with the visitation. So with number 5 is the transfer of custody. So upon receipt of the commitment order from the court, the chief custodial facility shall coordinate with the issuing court to ascertain the validity of the order. So they should validate if the order is um, there is an order with the transfer of the person. So upon confirmation, she must coordinate with the receiving detention facility for the immediate transfer of custody. So after they validate the order, they should coordinate with the um, receiving detention facility to immediately transfer the person. So that is for letter A. For letter B, prior to the transfer, the person under police custody shall be subjected to medical examination by a PNP medical officer or his or her absence, any government physician. So we have mentioned this earlier that prior to the transfer, the person under police investigation should be examined by a PNP medical or officer. So if the PNP medical officer was absent, they shall ask for the assistance or of the government physician. This is to ensure that before the transfer, there is no damage or injury done by the um, detaining facility before the transfer to another detaining facility. So 6 is the release. We're done with number 5, which is transfer of custody. Number 6 is the release. So the chief custodial facility shall be the sole approving authority in releasing the person under police investigation. So upon investigation or after investigation, and there is the order is that the person shall be released, then the chief of the police unit where the person was detained should be the one to approve the um, the release of the detained person. Upon receipt of the release order from the court, the chief of the custodial facility shall coordinate with the issuing court to ascertain the validity of the order. Okay, this is to also upon the receive when they receive that there is release order from the court, they shall validate if the order was really given. This is to ensure that there is an order coming from the court. Upon confirmation, they shall coordinate with the arresting unit if there are other legal impediments to the case. So they shall validate. After the validation, they coordinate to ensure that there are no other pending cases against the person. And then the chief custodial facility shall likewise check for the PNP e-warrant system to determine if the person under police custody be released as other pending warrant. There is also there to ensure that there is no other cases or there is no warrant of arrest of the person to be released. For letter D, if there are valid grounds for continuous detention, the chief custodial facility shall inform and coordinate with the court that issued the release order immediately within 5 days from notice. So, upon reviewing or upon checking that there are other warrant of arrest issued to the person detained, they shall coordinate with the court immediately within 5 days from notice. Letter E. Prior to the official release of the person under police custody, she must undergo another medical examination at any PNP Health Service Unit or Rural Health Unit. Okay, so before releasing that, the person detained should undergo another medical um, medical examination. This is to ensure that he didn't have any injury um, during his stay or during his detaining days at the police custody. So letter F, the chief or the custodial facility shall coordinate with the arresting officer for the release of all the properties seized from the person under police custody, except for those items still being used as evidence and those forfeited in favor of the government. So, bago ma-release yung tao or yung detained na tao or yung, yes, detained person, um, all of his properties which was seized during the arrest or during the investigation should be given back to him except for those which are used as evidence or which was forfeited in favor of the government. That is for the release. So we're done with the persons under police custody. So the next one is the transporting of person under police invest. I transporting of person under police custody. So we have here the number one. The person under police custody must be properly escorted and handcuffed at all times and seated position in the vehicle in a manner that prevents his or her escape and deny him or her the opportunity to endanger the lives of PNP personnel. Female persons under police custody shall be escorted by a police woman. Okay, so when transporting person under police custody, they should be handcuffed and properly escorted. So when in the vehicle, they should be positioned in a manner that does not endanger the lives of the escorting personnel of the police unit and the person under police custody should be um, seated or positioned in the vehicle that prevents his or her escape. Okay, if the PUPC is a female, then he shall be assisted by a police woman or female police. Number two, the transport of PUPC shall be done using official PNP vehicles. Of course, if there is a transfer or transport when they transport person under police custody, they um the vehicle used should be the vehicle which has official PNP badges, and other vehicles may be utilized subject to the approval of the head of the concerned unit. In other cases, um, other vehicles could be used unless it was approved by the head of the concerned unit. Number three, PUPCs shall as much as possible be transported wearing PUPC's uniform or proper attire that may identify them as PUPCs. So, during transfer, the person detained or the person under police custody should wear the proper PUPC uniform. This is to identify them as PUPCs. Number four, transport of PUPC shall be limited only to the following. Letter A is the proper office for inquest or court for hearing. So when they transport the detained person or the PUPC, it is only for the proper office for inquest or for court proceedings or hearings. To the nearest hospital clinic in case of medical emergencies, or in case of the mandatory medical examination during actual medical emergency, to the designated evacuation areas exclusive for PUPCs during a crisis situation. During or only during crisis situation. During court permitted transport, any order given by the court that permitted them to travel or permitted them to transport, any other analogous circumstances or any circumstances that needed transport. So we are done with the transporting of PUPCs. So that's all for the custodial investigation. So let's review for the custodial investigation. Letter A is the duties of the police during custodial investigation. Um, Letter B is the persons under police custody. Letter C is the transporting of person under police custody. So that's for the um, custodial investigation, which under the investigation operation. So that is 6.4 custodial investigation.